Well, hey there, third through sixth graders. It's Friday. We've gotten through another week. I want to continue with you, all of you who are following along on our chapter book, The Tiger Rising. You recall yesterday in chapters 11 and 12, chapter 11 opened up with the bus arriving on the second day and the three Monger brothers making fun of Rob, who was outside doing some work with his father. Sistine gets off the bus, and her pink dress is all torn and tattered. Her knuckles are all bloody, so we can pretty well imagine that she got into another fight at school. Kids picking on her. The most important thing that happened in chapter 11, though, was Rob told Sistine about the tiger. And in chapter 12, they were preparing to go into the woods. And that's where we pick it up today. They walked together through the scrub. The rain had stopped, but the whole world was wet. The pines and the palmettos and the sad clusters of dead orange trees all dripped water. "This was where my mother grew up," Sistine said, swinging her arms wide as she walked. "Right here in Lister." And she said that she always told herself that if she ever made it out of here, she wasn't going to come back. But now she's back because my father had an affair with his secretary, whose name is Bridget, who can't type, who is really a bad thing for a secretary not to be able to do, and my mother left him when she found out. He's coming down here to get me soon. Next week, probably. I'm going to go live with him. I'm not staying here, that's for sure. Rob felt a familiar loneliness rise up and drape its arm around his shoulder. She wasn't staying. There was no point in wishing. The suitcase needed to stay closed. He stared at Sistine's shiny shoes and willed his sadness to go away. "Ain't you worried about messing up your shoes?" he asked her. "No," she said. "I hate these shoes. I hate every piece of clothing that my mother makes me wear." "Does your mother live with you?" Rob shook his head. Nah, he said. "Well, where is she?" Rob shrugged his shoulders. "My mother's going to open up a store downtown. It's going to be an art store. She's going to bring some culture to the area. She could sell some of your wood sculptures." "They ain't sculptures," Rob protested. "They're just whittling. That's all. And we got to be quiet because Beauchamp don't want people walking around on his land." "Is this his land?" Sistine asked. "Everything's his," said Rob, "the motel and these woods." "He can't own everything," Sistine argued. "Besides," she said, "I don't care. He can catch us. He can put us in jail for trespassing. I don't care." "If we're in jail, we won't get to see the tiger," said Rob. "Where's your mother?" Sistine demanded. Suddenly, she stopped walking and stared at him. "Shh," said Rob. "You got to be quiet." He kept walking. "I do not have to be quiet," Sistine called after him. "I want to know where your mother is." He turned around and looked at her. Her hands were on her hips. Her black eyes were narrowed. "I don't want to see your stupid tiger," she shouted. "I don't care about it. You don't know how to talk to people. I told you about my father and my mother and Bridget, and you don't say anything. You won't even tell me about your mother." Keeping her hands on her hips, she turned around and started marching back in the direction of the Kentucky Star. "Keep your stupid secrets," she shouted. "Keep your stupid tiger too. I don't care." Rob watched her because she was wearing his jeans and his shirt. It was like looking into a funhouse mirror. It was like watching himself walk away. He shrugged and bent to scratch his legs. He told himself that he didn't care. He told himself that she was leaving soon anyway. But when he looked up and saw her getting smaller and smaller, it reminded him of his dream. He remembered Sistine riding into the woods on the back of the tiger, and suddenly he couldn't bear the thought of watching her disappear again. "Wait up," he shouted, "wait up!" And he started to run towards her. Sistine turned and stopped. She waited for him with her hands on her hips. "Well," she said, when he got closer to her. "She's dead," he told her. The words came out in short, ragged gasps. "My mama's dead." "Okay," said Sistine. She gave a quick professional nod of her head. She stepped toward him. Rob turned, and together they walked back into the other direction towards the tiger. Chapter 14. The cage was made out of rusted chain link fence. There was a wood board that served as a roof, and there was a chain link door that was locked tight with 3 paddle locks. Inside the cage, the tiger was still pacing back and forth just as he had been the last time Rob saw him, as if he had never stopped pacing or if Rob had never gone away. "Oh," said Sistine in the same voice that she had used when she saw Rob's carvings. "How beautiful." "Don't get too close," Rob ordered. "He might not like it if you stand too close." But the tiger ignored them. He concentrated on pacing. He was so enormous and bright that it was hard to look directly at him. "It's just like the poem says," Sistine breathed. "What?" said Rob. "The poem, the one that goes, 'Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night.' That poem. It's just like that. He burns bright." "Oh," said Rob. He nodded. He liked the fierce and beautiful way the words sounded. Just as he was getting ready to ask Sistine to say them again, she whirled around and faced him. "What's he doing way out here?" she demanded. Rob shrugged. "I don't know." He said, "He's Beauchamp's, I guess." "Beauchamp's what?" said Sistine. "His pet?" "I don't know," said Rob. "I just like looking at him. Maybe Beauchamp does too. Maybe he just likes to come out here and look at him." "That's selfish," said Sistine. Rob shrugged. "This isn't right for this tiger to be in a cage. It's not right." "We can't do nothing about it," Rob said. "We could let him go," said Sistine. "We could set him free." She would put her hands on her hips. It was a gesture that Rob had already come to recognize and to be weary of. "We can't," he said. "There's all them locks. We can saw through them." "Nah," said Rob. The mere thought of letting a tiger go made his legs itchy like crazy. "We have to set him free," Sistine said, her voice loud and certain. Said Rob. "It ain't our tiger to let go." "It's our tiger to save," Sistine said fiercely. The tiger stopped pacing. He pricked his ears back and forth, looking somewhere past Sistine and Rob. "Shh," said Rob. The tiger cocked his head. All 3 of them listened. "It's a car," said Rob. "A car's coming. It's Beauchamp. We gotta go. Come on." He grabbed her hand and pulled her into the woods. She ran with him. She let him hold on to her hand. It was impossibly small and bony hand, as delicate as the skeleton of a baby bird. They ran together, and Rob felt his heart move inside him, not from fear or exertion, but from something else. It was as if his soul had grown and was pushing everything up higher in his body. It was an oddly familiar feeling, but he couldn't remember what it's called. "Is he behind us?" Sistine asked breathlessly. Rob shrugged. It was hard to move his shoulders up and down and keep hold of Sistine's hand at the same time. Sistine said, "Stop shrugging your shoulders at me. I hate it. I hate the way you shrug all the time." And that made Rob remember Willie May saying that when he shrugged, he looked like a skinny bird trying to fly. It struck him as funny now. He laughed out loud at the thought of it, and without asking him what he was laughing about, without dropping his hand, and without stopping, Sistine laughed too. Then Rob remembered the name of the feeling that was pushing up inside of him, filling him full to overflowing. It was happiness. That was what it was called. Happiness. And well, that's the end of chapter 14. I guess we're just going to have to wait till Monday to find out who was driving up. Meanwhile, I hope you all have a good day. Stay safe as always. Take care of yourselves and be kind to everybody. See you next week.